There you go, works. Hello everyone, hello Facebook, hello YouTube, hello world. Thank you so much for being with us and for sharing this journey of...
Okay, so let's see if it really works.
It works.
We have to check if both of the mics work.
Okay, so we... Oh my God, it's so nice.
Okay, now I just have to... Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by and for tuning in. Let me just send to post it to your Instagram so everybody can watch from there as well.
Okay, while Vedran is doing that, I want to thank you so much for such an enormous support and a lot of messages, emails that you share with us.
You want a glass of water?
No, why? I'm okay.
Oh, your voice was raspy for a second.
Sounds sexy. Because I was silent for a long time, and I kind of came to be like talking, and I said, okay, let's. I hear it too. But anyhow, back to until you are doing that Instagram thing. I think like that this session, that this podcast is getting his hype, and I thank you so much for such a generous support. I must be honest and say that we do get those hater comments already, like very long emails, people telling me how they don't like what I talk, it's not true, it's kind of like too scary. Who am I to put up these topics, and what are my credentials to talk about this? And I do kind of appreciate all the comments because they do come from the level of deep care and deep respect. However, oftentimes the language of those emails that I get might cross the line of having a bullying note. So when the people get that tends to express their views that are completely in contrary in what I talk about, not to be creative about how I can be better, but to BS everything I do. So that's kind of, also I wanted to touch base on that as well, because doing all of this, being 30 years being exposed to a public and really honestly bringing out my thoughts, and everyone that is following me for a little while or for a long while has everything that I ever said out there. And for someone that really want to do a research, there is a lot of things that you will be able to see how a little lost boy of the age of 16 turned all of this into a life passion and then life service. And it's not something that I'm ready to negotiate with, because there is so much that I can offer and there is so much that other people can offer. So not necessarily I'm kind of interested in reading the bullying emails telling me how wrong I am. I'm just creating this Sasha's world, and everyone that loves and everyone that respects it and everyone that want to share his opinion and help me become better of who I can be is welcome to this world. Otherwise, the others are also just welcome to skip the world if they don't agree with this. I know the topic is very frustrating. I know about the dogs and awakening topic, especially in a sense of why the people do need to live with dog in this age and why that's man's best friend. Of course, it's going to bring a lot of questioning and a lot of doubts and a lot of self-doubt. That's the worst thing that can happen to us, is questioning why do we need this path if we claim that we are on a spiritual journey and that we wish that everything around us is a peace and happiness and we wish everyone well and things like that. However, you turn down and you spend like days. I'm gonna have a completely one show that I'm gonna talk about this instant need of people to bully other people. I kind of always respect everyone's journey, and I always respect everyone's opinion, but not when it crosses the line. then I want to actually expose it, because yes, I was abused child, and I was living a life in fear for a long time, until I didn't face my abusers and was not able to direct my path by watching them in the eye and saying, yes, it's your destiny, you need to deal with the consequences of your action, and this is my life, and this is my book, and this is my story that I'm writing on the experiences of all of that. But the worst thing that can happen to someone is to become scared of being bullied. That's the last thing you want to experience it yourself, is to have a people that want to share with you something that they think about you that might be very hurtful listening and hurtful reading. And there is no need for that. If you can say something nice, choose not to say nothing. That was always my policy. Like, if I couldn't help anyone, I would just maybe shish quiet around and I wouldn't say nothing. I would talk only when I'm asked to. And the problem becomes when the people ask and they are so interested in the topic, and they say, like, why my dog is doing that, and why my dog is doing this, and how I'm connecting all of these things together. And when I bring another light to that, when I open, really, that oftentimes should open old, unhealed wounds that are ready to be transformed into the biggest support. Because oftentimes, the darkest cave we fear to enter holds the treasure we seek. So it's not an easy to get this big sense of completely different approach in the dog's behavior, because the dogs can't learn something that they don't see our soul is showering as a model for their behavior. And that becomes hurtful. That becomes a problem for the people to face. And then when you enter that world, then I got this email. Let's say it's not one, it's like a lot of people's emails that are kind of, what do you know about that? And who are you to talk about that?
Yeah, but I don't want to spend, too much time complaining and whining, because
I was just waiting you to put that at Instagram, so I was kind of just sharing here something until you are not done. So I guess we can move on now.
Dismiss the haters and rejoice with the community and the people who are actually enjoying this type of content and who are enjoying your perspective. So
it's very difficult, and it's a very big difference in between a hater and in between a bully. When the hater become a bully, and when the hater wants to hurt you with the story and with the words he shares with you. So that's sometime for everyone out there in the community of the open world and compressed time and space with this internet is exposed to. And everyone that has something to say would keep it for themselves, because the people are afraid to being bullied and being told that they're wrong. It's not a problem in having haters. It's a problem that the hater become a bully. And then the problem becomes when you in that state want to find your space for the reaction or for the answer, not to become a bully of your bully. So that's also a very important point. So you don't want to chase people that bully you, but you don't want to put a strict line of until here you can go. That's beyond that space is my world. And everyone that loves me, it's welcome there. Everyone that doesn't want to be around is just kind of free to go. It's a free world. You do whatever you want, but then let me do whatever I want. Does it make sense?
Yeah, so you're saying there is a shut off button. It's easy to turn you off and make you disappear if it's not aligning with their...
Yeah, and it's very important. I wanted to share this. I also wanted to turn this podcast into exactly that one, about how you deal with the bully when the people are bullying you by a hater hating you. But let's do that for something else, because this topic about the dogs and awakening opens all wounds, and I'm completely aware of that. And that is why I'm kind of inviting everyone to listen to this podcast and to see where all of this is going to unfold with an open mind. Because that is why we have dogs by our side to guide us to the sacred places where where our parts of our souls got lost and compressed in time and space that doesn't exist anymore. It's not our reality. But our memory, our body chemistry, our traumas, and our ideas about how the world operates oftentimes remains in that time and space. And they're the dogs that are kind of leading us away from that, because that means being responsible humans. Oftentimes, the people doesn't need to care about the God. They follow the God because they want a salvation. So they doesn't care about, do they need to follow this lecture or that lecture, or who I need to follow, just to after I die, I don't go to hell. And I try to do the best up to my knowledge. But that becomes, how you call that when you say one and you do the other stuff?
Hypocrites.
Yeah, that becomes very hypocrites. Would you die for the God? Or you just want to be saved after you die? What's the story? And then if you put your life in service, then you don't mind would you die now or tomorrow or day after tomorrow. You just want to do as much as you can until you do not die. And then if you do everything right, you're going to go wherever you deserve to go. If you didn't, you'll maybe get a second chance, or we need to pay the price for the actions we did in a life we had. So no one knows what's happened after. But it's very, very, oftentimes very hypocritic, claiming one and doing the other things. So that's what I wanted to share with you. But today we are moving on with the topic that we have.
Well, not to leave it on, this negative note, or, not to make you sound like a victim. Why don't you share some of the positive messages that you've been receiving, and what has been the response in terms of people who have reacted very positively to this podcast? Okay, so the question that we often got, and that's how we went to this point of what would gonna be a topic of today's podcast, is how did we name? What was the question that we put this podcast named of? Does my mental health affect my dog? Does my mental health affect my dog? So working with the dogs, and that's you are ask me now that question. How we got this beautiful question from our audience. And where's the question? It's not on that paper?
It's not on this paper. Okay, we have more papers. So one of the nice comments was does my mental health...
It's on this paper right here.
Oh my God. So where is the one? Where is the question?
How does my mental health affect my dog?
Where is one that? How does my mental health affect my dog? Okay, you do know that you have poor dogs, they have the degree in... That's true, because the dogs want us to be present and in the moment. The people, and then every sage, no matter which religion, no matter where you go, no matter whom you are listening, no matter what you believe, tell you one: live in the moment, be present, go within, and then act in the name of service, of God, of yourself, of wherever. So you can go from the Hindu to the Buddhism, Orthodoxy, Christianity, of Catholicism, no matter which religion, sect, whatever beliefs, meditation, whatever beliefs, you go around, be present, go within, and be in the moment. Live the only truth of our life, that's now. The problem of the human mind is a choice. Is a letter of choice. So we can choose to be wherever we want in our imagination, where we want to be, which kind of goals we want to set for us in time to come. So be in the future, and then we want to reevaluate everything that happened to us. Then we are in past. So bringing past and future in the present moment is one of the biggest challenges of the human mind. So the problem becomes when the dogs that are completely out from the spectrum of the time. Because for the dogs, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days doesn't exist. They live now. So then you will see, if you go out from your dogs and you go out to drop off the garbage bag, or you go to the supermarket, or you go away for a couple of days, the reaction of you coming back to them would be always the same. Why? Because they were preoccupied of the life that they spent in the present moment. What causes a human anxiety is exactly not living in the present moment. Living in the future, projecting it, obviously bad way, how the future gonna shape itself, or living in the past by talking always what's going on, what I did wrong and what I can make better and how should I, interact with my past. So that leaves our dog completely lost, because they do know that if we do not live at the present moment, the outcome of the life wouldn't exist. It wouldn't be outcome of our life is always the reaction of the life in the future of our present actions. So if we make the actions without mindfulness of the present moment, we're going to be surprised with the outcome of the future, because we will just find ourselves in the situation, oh my God, how did it happen? But then it happened because we were not aware of which kind of future we create. And it's nothing to do with our will. It's to do with something that takes over our will, and it's called physiology. So the anxiety creates a completely different vibration of the human's body, not because it's some kind of vibration and now you need to think about and now you need to knock yourself to kind of like bring yourself higher your vibration, higher vibration. It's not about that. Hiring your vibration means rewire your brain so it does operate on the different frequency. It's really a frequency, because more you become aware of something. So how the consciousness is raised, how our awareness about the life around us is raised, because we learn something. When we learn something, we create something in our brain that's called myelin, that I talked about last time about that. And it's a very interesting thing, because more myelin, how you call those, what we said, myelin shells? Sheath. More myelin sheets we have on our... Sheaths. Can I use like a...
myelin sheath.
Myelin sheath. That goes around the neurons, that they are increasing their numbers over the neurons by learning. So when we learn, we actually change our physiology. The physiology changes our awareness. And our awareness creates completely different mechanism that our biological body operates on, because of the triggering of different hormones and triggering different aspects of the hormones that makes us feel good or bad, simply as that. You can feel the mood of me, I don't know how I feel, actually doesn't exist. I feel either good or I feel either bad. Maybe that sometime when I feel depressed, I can't describe actually how bad I feel. So, but it's a bad feeling. It's a bad reflection of my inner self about myself. And it's obviously when I'm depressed and when I think the depression holds me like some cobweb, me being connected to this past or the present, but not the moment. And that's where our dogs are losing us. It's not only because I am in a mood, good mood or bad mood. No, it's because I am radiating. My body radiates not only my energy, that is untangible, but also very tangible ways, then tangible hormones that we can't hide. But our dogs, not even that they can predict what we are thinking by our actions even before they happen, they can smell it. So the dogs communicate on us on a level of smell. That is why the baby, oftentimes we have a litter and there is a mother that pushes one of the babies out from the litter. She just doesn't want to feed that baby. So then the humans come there, and then they feel sorry for the baby, and they take that baby and they save it. We save the baby by feeding it like with the
Right, the runt of the litter.
Yes. Why the mother pushed it away? Not because she's bad mother, but because she can smell that the baby structure, the biological and physiology of the baby is bringing wrongness to the world. Something is wrong with the baby. In time to come, something will be wrong. And the mother just wants to protect the babies that are actually capable of surviving and want to leave more food to the babies that are okay. Oftentimes you have a mother that completely doesn't want to take care about the babies, not because she's bad mom, but because she doesn't support that environment being taken to the future. And that what we do then, we go there, we save entire litter, and we save poor babies, and we set them out to be adopted or to be someone's pet. And then those people in 3 to 5 years, they suffer so many anxiety problems, so many biological and physiological problems of those dogs that you can keep up paying the veterinarian bills. But the mother wanted to solve that on the beginning. Now we would say, are the animal conscious? If they are able to do that to their kids, what would they do? The mother would just pull away without giving them the food. Why? It's not because she's bad mother, but because one thing is a surviving mechanism hits the button. How? How does she knows that? Because she can smell it. And that's exactly how we are predictable to our dogs. We can hide. We can hide that we are cheating on our wife. We can hide that we don't love our job, that we hate our environment where we live, the people we interact with. Why? Because of the hormones that our body releases all the time. And then when our dogs are telling us, with all of that attention, seeking from us attention, like be present, be here, be now, live the life of your dreams, find out who you are, open yourself to the world. Don't be obeying to the rules that doesn't have nothing to do with your own self. And that is where actually we humans, as you said on the beginning, like, why do we give more attention to the haters than oftentimes we do to a people that likes and approaches us? Because the haters are pushing the buttons. But then also it's very important the other ones we are in service to, and we need to be very careful about not to grow the ego around the great compliments and everything. We need to remain humble as much as we can. But on the other sense, the people that are pushing the buttons are the one that we need to learn from, to adjust from, and then because they're brave to share their experience. But oftentimes they would use their bravery, how you say that, the bravery, is that how you say it? The bravery, to pass the barrier of I'm sharing my opinion and I'm attacking you, even though we are not connected. Like oftentimes I don't even know the people that are writing me bad messages. Not all the bad messages are bullying ones, because really sometimes people really want to share their opinion about how they think, why they think the things I'm saying or someone is saying are not right, because of their experience or because of their of their opinion on that. But the people that claim, because they just disagree and they don't want to sign up for this so obvious theory that's scientific down to how you call that, electron movement within a cell, within the atom. It's kind of like, because it may be very difficult to explain this on the level of biology, but it's very easy to explain it from the level of the quantum physics, or from the level of the morphic resonance, or from the level of any theory that penetrates the material realm. And that's where the spirit and the soul interact in this complete, united, and divine interaction that brings us together, as well the people that we disagree with close to us. But then there is that fine line when your opinion is a critic that's constructive, and where do you start bullying the one you disagree with. And then on the other side, accepting the reaction is opening yourself to be criticized by setting the boundaries that the bullied are not able to cross. And that's what will, protect you and protect your future, as well keep your health mind very healthy, I guess. And then that would be a strength that you can show to your to people around you that you like and you care about, but as well that same structure of your mind that is actually a result of your biological body produces that mind, and then you have that beautiful outcome of relationship with your dogs that you don't even need to think about what you want them to do. They will obey to their master because they respect. What do they respect? They respect the integrity that the master has. And if you want to sleep and it's 8 o'clock and they just used to go out at 8 o'clock and you just feel to sleep, you should sleep. You are not a slave of your dog, because the dog wants to be on a feet of their master. The dogs are enormously great followers. The dogs are, through the generations and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, dogs evolved to be up to the best friend of the man, of the people, because the humans doesn't have one. Mm-hmm. And how the dogs health, how our mental health interacts with the dog's health is like, the dogs are like kids. They're like a sponge. They're gonna absorb everything that their parents are hiding, that are the family secrets, that are untold story and undesired experiences. What the parents hold as a secret lives in the pain of the body of their kids. That is how important it is that our soul and our spiritual journey and experiences of this body are aligned. And if you really want to put them in use, then you are doing it thankfully to the God, being able to put yourself in a service, and then by surrendering you to some bigger cause, putting yourself in a service that might last 1 day or 100 years, doesn't matter. And that's when the faith is not passive. The applied faith, the faith in action, is something that should guide our beliefs and our work every single day. Does this what I want to do serve my bigger cause, and how? But do I know what my bigger cause is? Do I know what I'm able to sacrifice my life for? Did I find that niche of my life that it would say that if tomorrow comes, I'm ready to go? With no exceptions, with no thoughts about that. I'm going because you want me to do so. But then don't come back and question, oh, I didn't do that because I was afraid of, or I didn't do this because he, or because of she, my mother, my father, my grandfather, my bullying, the people that didn't like me and all of that. No, that's not an excuse. It can be an excuse. It's a legit excuse because we don't know what to do. But the idea is, look at your dogs, find a way to put them in use by observing them, observing their behavior, and see, does they have an intention to become a human-like? Are we making them be human-like? It's never going to happen. It's putting a very big burden on our dogs and taking divine presence off our face. Because if we mirror ourselves to an animal, it's possible. It's a known phenomena. Because we are talking to our dogs as they would be humans. But what happens if you mirror yourself in the image? That's what you become. And that's where the relationship with the dog is tremendous potential. But it's a slipping and very sharp, edgy walk into a complete success or complete failure. And you know when we're going to know that for sure, which path we went on that? When the time comes for them to descend. By no means, and we're going to open that next time to talk about that, because we had a lot of if the dogs are conscious, that was our, one of the lessons, and I think we should slowly kind of coming slowly to the end of this show. Maybe you should like kind of wrap something up, because I don't want you to kind of just...
Oh, that was the end of the answer?
No, it was not, because I wanted to touch base on this point, like how do we know, did we succeeded in becoming the best friend of our dog? If when the time comes from them to go and to departure, to meet the next phase of their life, I don't want to say to die, because that might be too harsh for every one of us to experience as a word even. But what do we do to our best friends when the time comes that they need to go? Then we
let's save that for maybe another episode, because I really want to focus back in on the original question, which was about mental health. And it sounds like you said it's all about being present.
Yeah, okay. So bear in mind, next time we're gonna talk about this
about death.
So it will be
or
dogs.
About putting your dog, quote unquote, to sleep.
Yeah, that's what I would love to talk about, and that's what very big. So, when you wanna meet the life, it can happen in fully until we do not consent to death, and that consenting to death is something that's liberating and liberates a lot of decisions, liberates a lot of potential, and actually phases out the critical and crucial fear of us dying, and once we love and care about dying as well. So that's what we want to talk about next, because that relationship with the animals, I think we fail tremendously, and we put them down.
Well, save that.
Just a second, because that's kind of, I just want to wrap it up, because that I said, how do we know we failed in this path or we succeeded in this path? If we manage not to put our dogs down, not in a form that you don't put them down by giving them euthanasia or killing them, call it the right way. If we claim that they have an emotions, they have a consciousness, they have all of these things that are very nice while we are growing next to them and becoming attached to our dogs, because he's my angel, he's my son, he's my baby, he's my world. And yet somehow I put them down, not by putting them down because I give them the euthanasia. I took them to the so mainstreamly known way of how every pet should die with that integrity. But then the question becomes like, was I by his side when he needed me the most? And what would be the most important message at that time? I'm letting you go. You're free to go. You go, and I'll stay. Thank you for your service. That's the moment when the animals are able to go to so-called, very, very well known to sages of India and everyone in a mystic, real spiritual world, by called on Hindu known way of meditation called Mahasamadhi. So they would just fall asleep and transcend. But why the dogs are dying for so long and so long? They are just not because we are not letting them go. And the way we established a relationship with them, we depend on dogs. And the dogs come to our life like our saviors. And then until the end of their life, we didn't make that relationship for them to transcend peacefully. Like any animal in the wild would do, like an elephant. They don't have any natural predators in life. And when the life comes to its end, the entire herd of the animal knows that the time is to, make a final goodbye. And then the elephant that's dying would say goodbye, and it would go to the elephant's, how you call that? It's not sanctuary. It's where you have a lot of graves. Cemetery. And they would die peacefully. If we would develop a different relationship with our pets, if they wouldn't feel that they are so responsible for our lives and everything what we are outcome of our life. The dogs are having the idea that we are completely incapable of living the life ourselves without them around. What they do, they won't go. And they get sick and they die slowly and forever. And just one more day, and just one more day, and just one more day. Why? Because we didn't learn the story. We didn't learn the lesson. It would be, thank you for your service. I let you go. And you'll go, and I'll stay. And there will be one day, maybe, around the rainbow, when we're going to meet again. So this would be the topic of the next week. How to welcome death as the only truth of life. When I got my kids, and they were like babies, I remember holding their little, the little feet of them were so small, Sarah and Luke, I hold them in my, they were laying and sleeping, and I like to hold their feet because they were so small, and I was able to hold them in my hands. And I said, oh my God, like you never know how long the life is going to last. What's going to be, how they're going to find a way to serve this world, and how they're going to find a way to express themselves. But once you're born, the only outcome of that world, the only outcome and end story of that life always going to be a death. And then you start, when you face that, when you see that coming, no matter is it 100 years, no matter how long or short life should be, it should always stream to be in service. And if we are in service, then something greater we serve. It's directing our actions, and it's led to use us in service. But then you have a servant of ours that are dogs, that are seeing us being led into the service of the higher cause and more conscious than we can even imagine. Then the dogs finally can relax. And he said, lead me, master, to wherever you think I should go. And that's what the dog does for the humans. That's what the dogs does for us. They try to save us from our own self, because our own self doesn't exist. It's lost. It's lost in a family. It's lost in a conditioning out from the biggest love and support one family can have for their kids. It's lost in the mainstream media. It's lost in the education. It's lost in the friends. It's lost in what we read. It's lost in what we listen. It's lost in this conditioning, because that is what the mind is all about. The mind can't run without a program. So the program either going to be put in our mind by someone else, and then we're going to think we become something that we are surrounded ourselves with. But then that's one day we become aware of that. And that moment you can take all of your possession that you have and directed it towards the biggest cause and purpose of your life. How to discover it? Just if you have a dog, you're blessed because you have a guide to that. When you work with the dogs, the biggest challenge of every pet professional is to be present when working with the dogs. Grooming and styling is very boring thing to do, because for 1 hour or 2 hours you need to perform some brushing, and it's repetition of the multiple repetition of the same skills. So in that multiple repetition of your same skills, there is a lot time for mind to wander around. Oh, am I paying the bills? Will the next client come on time? What I'm doing here, what I'm doing there? And the dog is present. Dog is present here, wanting only one, to go home as soon as possible. And we are here grooming this dog, trying to enjoy as much as we can, but we are humans. We think about what happened, how client before us was not tipping us or not was good before this one, and now you end up in this environment of emotional departure from the present, either in the past or in the future. And that's not what our dogs would love us to do. Our dogs want us to be here. Here and now means that I'm completely able to see and to observe the life as it is. And by engaging with the dogs, the right way, we can have a direct link to all unlimited laws of nature that guide our life, consciously or unconsciously, being us aware of that or not, in that little animal. How? Because that's the only source of their existence, here and now. So, I did explain and answer this question in a lot of words. I think like that's an
understatement.
That's understatement, and I'm sorry for that. But I wanting to make a full circle and around, because it's not the dog are sensing us because they have a crystal ball. No, it's just because they have a nose. Then they have a nose to sense all of our hormones that are radiating. As I said, when you have a high level of all beautiful hormones like a dopamine, like maybe dopamine is like a very one that can be quickly released, and that's why we are in the urge of sweet or in the urge of some narcotics or to some gambling or something, because that adrenaline that drives us in that moment actually do release a dopamine as well, but we become addicted to the result of using the intermediate with that. But there is a lot of other ways to release the dopamine naturally. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, all of those nice hormones that creates a joy and a feeling of being loved and loving someone, like you have those butterflies all over your body. So that's have that sweetie taste, that sweet, like a sweetie and a vanillish and the chocolateish, the nice sweet smell. And on the other side, when you smell like when you are anxious, when the cortisol level is high, when everything is around like so wrapped up in the anxiety, then we smell very acidy, very spicy, like a chili pepper, like spice on the pepper and things like that. And that's the dog with the 200 times better smell cells in their nose. They can smell everything. We can't lie to them. So if you cheat your wife or you cheat your husband and you come home and you pretend, the dog knows. How the dog knows? The dog knows, and it will going to expose. How it going to expose? Because they're going to start humping. And every single time when the people come to me and they say, oh my God, my dog is humping. Yeah, look at the bigger picture. Who is humping? The dog is just an expression of the people humping. He doesn't hump. He loves me, I love him. No one humping. Check twice. Check 3 times. Open an eye. And then think. Also doesn't necessarily need to be like a physical, physical cheating. But the mind and attention of the sexual energy is somewhere else. Either in the physical kind of like. And now you would say, how would you say that? Because I observe it over and over and over and over. The dogs are humping, and I said, oh my God, but they're just expressing the sexual intention. But how would they do that if they're sterilized? For example, the males, they have chopped off all the testicles and they still hump. It's a power game. Of course it's a power game, one of many. Why exactly is he using that one? It's because someone else is humping in that house as well. And then once you open that, every single time I had the people coming to me and had the workshops and the humping was in place, and I said like, open eyes. And like in a couple of months, in a couple of weeks, maybe in a year, every single one of them came back, oh my God, you acted like you have a crystal ball. No, your dog was in morphic resonance with a family that was now extended to ones that we didn't know about, do exist in our family, because the members of the family are having something more to do with some other parts of the outside the family. And the dog can't be cheated in that, because the dog smells, the dog knows, because the dog is part of the family awareness and the family resonance of the. They are completely, combined within every single member of the family within the circle of the same consciousness, the family consciousness. Now the dog do belong to that family consciousness, and the truth is one only thing that is healing power to the family. So if there is someone that does something that's hurtful for the family, the dog will pull the family together by trying to act in a certain way to expose the one that holds the secret that can ruin entire family. That's how powerful the dogs are. It's not just a pumping because it's a power game. It is but one of many. Why they didn't choose some other power game? Because there is a message for every single member of that family that something's going on. And when you become aware of that everything that our dogs does, it's to expose the secrets, the secrets, the unwanted stories, the unwanted people, everything that holds the future of that family, be very
shameful, hidden.
Yes, because the kids would pay the price. The kids would pay the price. That's why the responsible life of the parents is important, because the Gustav Jung said what's hidden in the minds, the hidden stories of the parents live in the bone and flesh and blood of their children. And the dogs know that, not because that's a theory or that's a hypothesis, that's a law of nature. As you sow, so shall you reap. And sometime, for some flowers and some agriculture things, you need 100 years to fruition. And then maybe the grandfather will sow that up in the life, and then the grandkids going to get that beautiful and big tree of either abundance or the curse to take a fruit from. And that's why it's so important in this time of uncertainty to create a certain future by engaging in moment of now.
Fascinating as always. So the big takeaway, stay present, stay loving, and stay alive. And thank you all for, truthful. So maybe we'll unpack some of those in the next live. Thank you everyone for staying with us. Drop us a comment, smash the like button, and see you next time.
Love you all. Bye.